It's no secret celebrities can get away with stuff us regular folks can't. We've seen it numerous times in the past, and I was actually able to make an entire list of top 10 celebrities that got away with major crimes. So it's safe to say that if you're well known, you definitely get preferential treatment and are not subject to the reality of what repercussions your actions may have. Although I don't agree with it, I understand why celebrities would take advantage of it. I mean, who wouldn't? I don't think I would. Who are we kidding? I would do it all the time. But to a certain extent, as long as others weren't in danger and if the only person who could be negatively affected would be myself and myself only, then sure. Either way, tonight in Informoverload, we're counting down the top 10 things that only celebrities can get away with. What's up, guys? I'm your host for today, Jared Bronstein. And if you're new here, let me be the first to welcome you. Stick around to the very end of this one for some comment replies from another video. But for now, let's just get right into it. Starting us off at number 10, DUIs. I can't even begin to tell you how many celebrities have gotten a slap on the wrist for driving under the influence, an offense that in some places gets you lengthy prison time. Yet for celebrities, although some of them have been arrested, and rightfully so, it seems most of the time they get a fine and possible license suspension. Sometimes it's just a fine. Maybe they'll throw in some counseling or a stipulation that the person has to go to rehab, but prison time? Oh no, that never happens. Alright, I shouldn't say never, but let's look at some celebs who have gotten DUIs and didn't go to prison. Mel Gibson, Justin Bieber, Khloe Kardashian, Keanu Reeves, Vince Vaughn. The list goes on and on. And they have mugshots because they went to jail, which is usually where someone is held while they await trial. For these celebs, as expected, they got a fine, maybe probation, a license suspension, but no prison time. Oh no. Number 9, tax evasion. I will say there are a fair share of actors who have served prison time. We're talking months and even years for evading taxes. It's funny, for some reason the government will let people get off the hook if they possibly endanger others by driving under the influence, but you don't pay them what they're owed, and it's game over. Now, it is fair to say taxes do pay for schooling, hospitals, the stuff we use, but it also pays politicians some nice salaries. Either way, for example, Stephen Baldwin didn't go to jail for not paying his New York state tax from 2008 to 2010, which totaled $400,000 as per the LA Times. Obviously, he claimed it wasn't his fault and paid it off within the year, so no prison time there. For the most part, the celebs who evade taxes eventually do get caught and go to prison, but their sentences are usually reduced, which we'll touch on a little later in this one. At number 8, caught with weapons. For the most part, this seems more prevalent with rappers and hip-hop artists, but there are definitely some actors who apparently forgot they packed their guns in their suitcase at the airport. More specifically, David Henry, who starred alongside Selena Gomez in Wizards of Waverly Place, was arrested while going through LAX after a TSA agent found a gun in his bag. Although he legally owns the gun and it was registered in his name, he claims he unintentionally brought it and released a statement which included, "More than anything, I am humiliated and embarrassed that this even happened." He ended up getting sentenced to 2 years probation, 20 days of community labor, pay fees and fines, and enroll in a gun safety course, as per the Daily Mail. More recently, rapper Tory Lanez was arrested after being in possession of a concealed weapon, which is a felony. He posted bail after spending a couple hours in jail, and his court date is set for October, but I'm sure he won't go to prison. However, if it turns out he did in fact shoot Meg Thee Stallion, which is where it seems things may go, well, that would certainly change things. Number 7, attaching names to brands. You guys really think Dr. Dre created Beats by Dre? You think he just sat there making headphones? What about Kim Kardashian? I didn't realize she was an app developer. I hate to break it to you guys, but Michael Jordan, the GOAT, yeah, he's not designing shoes. I think you guys get the point I'm trying to make here. When you grow enough of a brand for yourself, there's ways to increase your profits. Invest in businesses, continue doing what made you successful in the first place, or just have someone use your name and face to sell their product, and you make a good chunk of change. It's no different than a lot of these influencers, but when you go from promoting other brands to selling your own brand, well then you're officially celebrity status. At number 6, assault. Doesn't matter what kind, if you know what I'm trying to get at. The truth is, celebrities get away with it. Countless times, as we've seen in highly publicized trials, celebrities have gotten away with all kinds of assault, and in the most extreme cases, murder. From making unwanted advances with people to drunkenly going after strangers. Of course, there's the classic freak out at paparazzi. Now, regarding the paparazzi, I get it, they could be annoying. Well, I don't get it, but I try to understand. Sometimes you want privacy. But unfortunately, that's just not Hollywood. If you want to be an actor and have privacy, you could do more low-key films, maybe indie stuff, off-Broadway stuff, but as we know, Hollywood is where the big bucks are. Bringing it back to the main point, there are numerous stories of people, but Alec Baldwin tends to have paparazzi run-ins a lot. Like the time in 1995 when he was bringing his newborn home with his wife and sprayed shaving cream all over a paparazzi's windshield who was waiting for him to come home. A scuffle ensued. Baldwin claims he knocked the guy's camera out of his hand. The photographer, Alan Zanger, claims he got punched in the face and broke his nose, and when all was said and done, according to People magazine, I quote, Baldwin was later acquitted of misdemeanor battery charges in the case and won an invasion of privacy suit against Zanger, though Zanger won a civil case against Baldwin for damages that cost the actor $4,500. Do I blame Baldwin? No, but if someone was filming me and I broke their nose, I promise I wouldn't win an invasion of privacy suit. Number 5, speaking out of line. Now, if you disagree with someone's beliefs, that's one thing. When you make comments that pertain to a specific type of race or religion, that's another. And although we're currently going through the cancel culture wave, there have been a fair share of celebrities who have made comments and haven't faced nearly as much backlash as one may expect them to receive. A recent example I could use is Nick Cannon. Although he was recently fired by Viacom CBS and taken off the show Wild 'N Out after making anti-Semitic comments on his podcast Cannon's Class, Fox assured everyone they wouldn't be firing Nick from his role as the host of The Masked Singer, even after he stood by his comments, which many found incredibly offensive. Nick backtracked, tweeting out his deepest and most sincere apologies to anyone he offended. However, it then led to him receiving backlash from his own community, as he tweeted out, I quote, "I hurt an entire community and it pained me to my core. I thought it couldn't get any worse. Then I watched my own community turn on me and call me a sellout for apologizing." He's since actually posted a podcast with a rabbi, which is further proof he is trying to educate himself, which I think is great. That being said, as we've seen when regular people make remarks pertaining to a certain race or culture, even if it comes from a place of ignorance, they usually get canned and lose their career altogether. And hopefully by now you guys know I am so against cancel culture and totally for educating, so I'm not saying Nick should lose everything. That being said, what I am saying is when you have such a large following, you gotta do your due diligence to educate yourself on topics before you speak. And we've seen time and time again, even if celebs do lose jobs, somehow, some way they always manage to bounce back. Mel Gibson went on a rant using anti-Semitic slurs and called his girlfriend at the time the N-word, yet he still acts and directs feature films in Hollywood. I mean, Mel Gibson's like a case on his own, the DUIs, the assaults, the resisting arrest, the list goes on and on with that guy. But another example is Michael Richards, aka Kramer from Seinfeld. He had a disgusting moment when he yelled at a black man who allegedly was heckling him, still not an excuse, calling that person the N-word well on stage. And that's putting it lightly. I don't know if you guys have seen the video, it happened in 2006. He went on for 2 minutes with the guy spewing hate, and he's since gone on to star in movies and TV shows. That's just not right to me. It's safe to say maybe his career, hasn't been the same since, but who would want to work with that guy at all? That's what I'm trying to get at. Number 4, caught with narcotics. Now when I say Hollywood loves Coke, it's not that they prefer it over Pepsi. And to no surprise, time and time again, celebrities of all kinds, from musicians to actors, athletes to even YouTubers, you name it, have had run-ins with the law while being found in possession of something they shouldn't have. Even a tiny amount could get you years in prison, but when you're a celebrity, you need rehab, you need help. Regular person, you need prison time. And this doesn't just go for the white stuff. There have been numerous cases of celebrities caught either in the act or in possession of things they shouldn't have, and again, they're seen as the victim. Now I will say addiction is a very tough thing to battle, and in case you couldn't tell, when I said celebrities need help and normal people need prison, I was being sarcastic. Which just further proves my point. If a celebrity or even athlete is known to always be under the influence, or has a narcotic of choice, I'll say, and it's a known thing, people are kind of just accepting of it. They make jokes, it's in the tabloids, but when a normal person, for lack of a better word, does the same thing, they're a threat to society and need to deal with their problems. I just think that line of thinking is insane. Even with weed, there have been cases where people have been caught with literal pounds, which would likely get you a life sentence in some states, yet somehow these guys get off the hook. It makes no sense to me. Both the fact that they get off the hook and having some kush gets you a life sentence, or a sentence at all. At number 3, just show up. That's literally all they gotta do, and sometimes it's good enough. What do I mean by that? Well, if there's a busy restaurant, can't get a table, no reservations, but you're a celebrity, just walk in. They won't make you wait. In fact, they'll likely give you one of the best tables regardless of who's sitting there. Ever hear the good old, "I'm terribly sorry to do this to you, but we're gonna have to move your party to another table"? Usually it's for a reservation, but sometimes it's because a star athlete or musician, even an actor, is just rolling through and, they have such a busy life being a celebrity, they don't have time to wait. It's the same really with anything, from bars and clubs to restaurants, and likely even at the airport. They're given special treatment because they can't be seen with normal people. Of course, there's also the privacy aspect, and truth be told, if I reach this level of celebrity, I'd 100% take advantage. I don't make the rules, I just abide by them. Number 2, running for president. I'm not even talking about President Trump. You can argue he was a businessman more than a celebrity. But Kanye West, apparently Lil Uzi Vert is gonna run as well. Maybe he was joking, I don't know. Previously people were saying The Rock, also known as Dwayne Johnson, or even Oprah Winfrey should run in 2020. Can someone tell me why? What qualifications do they have? Don't get me wrong, I love Dwayne. He literally has a smile that when I see it, I have to smile. You know those smiles that you're like, God damn, what a smile. He's got that kind of smile. So as president, he'd probably kill it in the sense that he'd be nice to look at. But from a political standpoint, he was a football player turned wrestler turned movie star. Where's the qualifications in that? Oprah is a talk show host and now a producer, media exec, and even philanthropist. But as we've seen in the past, just because you got a ton of money doesn't mean you're a good candidate for presidency. Mitt Romney, anyone? I guess the same could be said for other presidents, but I won't go there. At number 1, special jail treatment. Vince Neil, the lead singer of Motley Crue, killed one of his friends drunk driving, spent 20 days in jail and was released. Normally, you'd likely get 25 to life or maybe even a more lenient sentence of 10 years in prison. Not for Vince. As he put it, I quote, "I wrote a $2.5 million check for vehicular manslaughter when Razzle died. I should have gone to prison. I definitely deserve to go to prison, but I did 30 days in jail and got laid and drank beer because that's the power of cash. that's effed up. And that's just one of the many examples I can use. Floyd Mayweather had his sentence pushed back so he could participate in a fight that he would actually end up winning and pocketing over $30 million for. Then he was released early because his physicians and trainers said he wasn't getting enough food or water to maintain his physique, which could harm his career as a boxer. Does anybody else see a problem here with that? And there you guys have it for the top 10 things only celebrities can get away with. Let me know your thoughts down below. Which one is the craziest number on here? For now, let's reply to some comments from the video. Restaurant hostess calls out celebrities on TikTok for rude behavior. Jax S in North America really needs to actually pay their servers adequately. Can't rely on the kindness of rich strangers, obviously. I really don't understand that, because people, I've never been to Europe, but I hear like all over Europe, in the UK, and if you leave a tip, it's like offensive, because they're like, what, you don't think I have enough money? It's like, it's seen as rude. With that being said, I think any job, if someone tipped me, I wouldn't be offended, because like I would just take it. But anyways, that's besides the point. I completely agree. I don't understand who started this whole let's give waiters and waitresses tips and just like give them less money. I think that's ridiculous. Just a commenter said, I feel like the way you treat servers / waiters says a lot about you. I completely agree. So on a first date, you go out for dinner, if your date's rude to the waiter or waitress, you know what you pull? You pull one of these. I'm so sorry for her, or I mean for me it'd be a girl, but whoever you're with, I'm so sorry for their actions. They're actually really rude. Would you want to go on a date with me? Boom. And they're just like, and you're like, yeah, don't be rude to them. That's not nice. I want to take them for dinner now. Them being the waiter or waitress, not you. I don't know, maybe I'm just petty like that. Twig with a face said, at least Hailey Bieber apologized for her actions. That's how everyone should behave, famous or not. And that's it, holding yourself accountable. So going back to Nick Cannon, he held himself accountable and he's actively taking action to educate himself, and I respect that. Other people, specifically Mel Gibson, that's a different story. I'm not gonna comment on it, but I'm not a fan is all I'm gonna say. Anyways guys, that's it for this one. I've been your host, Jared Bronstein. We'll see you in the next one.